Okay, everyone, welcome back. We're doing another episode of wIldrift Doctor. Behind me is a new background that is for the Origin series that is starting today. So if you guys want to check out the Origin series, I'll be casting it later on, evening European time. I'll be casting with Maxman. That is the background for it. wIldrift Doctor, we have 2 episodes today. We're going to be covering 2 players from my server who have been kind of like long-time supporters of the channel, so I wanted to do this one for them. The first one is, you may recognize him, the superstar from the comments, Amadeus, other variations of his name do apply. He's given me a Diamond Fizz jungle gameplay to break down. And then there is a guy in my Discord called Fentatist who has given me a breakdown, which I believe is an Emerald game as well. So we've got a Diamond and an Emerald game to break down today. First of all, I will sometimes flame, but in a loving way, and it's always like for entertainment. So if I'm ever being mean about your video that you submit, it's purely for entertainment and hoping that you guys learn something and get better. Secondly, have fun. Let's enjoy it. No flaming the players. They put themselves out there to submit these videos to the channel, and I really appreciate it, because without them I wouldn't have any content. I would have no content. But yes, okay, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. Reference link in the description below. And also, giveaway, of course, just leave a comment in any video throughout June. Subscribe to the channel and you'll have a chance of winning. Let's get into this. This is a Diamond Fizz jungle. Let's just check that my pen is working. Can you guys see this? Yeah, it looks, I think you can see this. I think you can see it. Cool. All right. It's a little bit loud. I'm just going to turn it down ever so slightly. Okay, so what you've seen Amadeus do here is something that I'm just going to pause it. Actually, I paused the wrong video. I paused recording the video rather than the actual video that I'm looking at. So this is something that if you're jungling, you should learn to do. It's a really good little thing. A lot of high elo junglers will go straight from base. They'll put a ward around their blue buff, either in the river or at the blue buff or in the brush that's like here. They will sometimes go back to base with a recall. They'll pick up a red sweeper trinket and they'll run to their red buff. Amadeus just went from here to here without going for the red sweeper trinket, which is perfectly fine, but a lot of junglers do like to get the red sweeper trinket early on, because that allows them to then do their jungle clear and then like sweep a ward as they sweep walking up towards whichever lane they're going to gank. And if the enemy is not paying attention, they'll just see that their vision has expired rather than like be fully aware that their ward's getting taken. And a lot of junglers just walk past the ward and gank. They don't prioritize killing the ward, they just walk past the ward and gank. So putting a ward here, going back to base, coming to red buff and getting sweeper is the usual plan. But if you're not going to start blue buff, you should always go and put a ward there as a jungler and then come back to your base. This is a good little start from Amadeus. It's a good little trick that you can do if you're like wanting to learn just some tips and tricks in the jungle. So Amadeus is doing a good something good here. You'll see a lot of players do this. Just walking like 2 autos and then you walk back, or I think it should be 2 autos and you walk back from the buffs, and you can just reduce the amount of damage that you're taking. But even then, in the jungle, what you're seeing here as a melee jungler, you group all the minions up together so they take all of the damage from your cone splash attack. So I think that's obviously something that if you're a new jungler, not everyone is fully aware of. If you look at all the wolves, they're all grouped up in a little area. That's just to make sure that every time you basic attack, you are hitting every single one of those wolves. And this is one of the reasons that Fizz jungle clear can be pretty good. And actually, Amadeus has got quite a lot of HP left, actually, in a Fizz jungle clear. One of the things that makes Fizz pretty weak is that his early jungle clear takes him very low. And that can, obviously, like right now, like if Lee Sin decided to invade now, like you would have been on, what, like half HP? That's the area of Fizz's jungle that's a little weak. If you can get through that first early jungle clear, you're in a really, really strong spot. I'm actually going to take this headphones off because they're distracting me from the game. I don't know why. Listening to the game sounds was distracting me from the game. Okay, so there was an opportunity potentially for Amadeus to look for a gank, but I think what he's doing here is the correct thing. He is going for level 5, because if Fizz can get level 5, like this is a 2-minute level 5 for Fizz. This is what makes Fizz strong. However, the Twisted Fate was really low, so I wouldn't have minded him looking for a potential gank opportunity here. Not sure about that though. I love this. This is pretty good, but he had the gold card. Amadeus, I mean, trading 1-for-1's okay, but really you've given up so much pressure on the map, like Lee Sin or whoever you're against. I don't know which jungle you're against. Vi. She can just walk in and steal your camps now. Like, he had gold card locked. So when a Twisted Fate has got gold card locked, that's always a really risky dive to go for. I think Amadeus would know that, though. Like, I think he'd know that. Trading 1-for-1 there, I'm not particularly sure is worth. When you trade 1-for-1, you want to ensure that your own mid laner can either push the wave in or deny some minions. So trading 1-for-1 is I don't think worth, because you lose your buffs and that makes your ganking following that pretty bad. You also kind of wasted your Fizz ultimate, but one of the reasons why Fizz jungle is really good is look how low cooldown this ultimate is. So I like what Amadeus is doing here, but again, no sweeper. Like, he really needs to have sweeper very early on, because it makes ganking really hard if you don't have sweeper. Again, that's a really nice ultimate. Pantheon's coming in here. That was really nice. I think the Jhin snipe got him. As soon as the Jhin snipe got him, I would have started running away from the tower there. Just these are not things that I think are massively game defining. What I'm just seeing here is just some mechanical, like, oversteps. What we call this is like overstepping. You're going a little bit too far. And I think when you're playing jungle, especially versus a Twisted Fate, you always have to be a little concerned that Twisted Fate can turn up and just kind of turn one of your ganks around. However, I think the gank was good. So what Amadeus did there was good, but I think he just overstepped a little bit. And once the Jhin bullet hit the Misfortune, I would have run away from the tower straight away. I think he stayed around a little bit too long, looking to get the second kill there, and it didn't quite work out. So Garen, for some reason, is like losing 1v1 to a Malphite. I'm not sure. Oh, he's gone Black Cleaver. That's why. I was going to say, I'm not sure as a Garen, as a big Garen player, how you lose 1v1 to a Malphite. It really just shouldn't happen, but there you go. So when you're a jungler, there are a few things that you've got to think about. Obviously, one of the few things you've got to think about is like how easy is a lane to gank. But for me, when I'm playing jungle, which isn't very often, but when I'm thinking about playing jungle, I always think, who's going to carry the hardest on my team? If I put resources into someone, who's going to carry the hardest? And in this game, it's absolutely going to be Katarina. If I can get resources into Katarina, I love this little play, by the way, from Amadeus. Over the wall is the Fizz. The only problem with doing the play that way, lovely flash from him, by the way. The only problem with doing the play that way is you don't have your playful trickster in the middle of the fight. So you could have very easily come round the side here. Now, the problem is that I would be getting out of this dragon pit if I was Amadeus, personally, because there is a Malphite with ultimate. Now, the Jhin ultimate will buy them some time, and what I think we're seeing from Amadeus is fine, but his team is very, very low HP, and he's not really hitting the dragon that much. Okay, he's just used Playful Trickster to try and burst the dragon down. That's good enough. We'll take that. Messy fight. I think Amadeus was looking to get his team to force the dragon. Now, this is an overstep. Don't need to be here. The Vi obviously is respawning. So that was an overstep for me from Amadeus. He didn't need to do that. You just got the dragon. Like, in that situation, you just got the dragon. There was no need to go for the greedy kills. Your team was all super low HP. You were going in 1 versus 3 versus a Twisted Fate who could just gold card you. So, you know, you have to be super careful in that scenario. And I think that was, again, what I'm seeing from Amadeus in this game. He's being way too greedy with his plays. He's thinking that he's Fizz and he can get out of any situation. But once you've used that Playful Trickster, you're just as bad as any other jungler going for a tower dive. That one ability is the one ability that makes Fizz jungle good in tower dive and sort of like tough situations. So this was just a little bit of an overstep. But the Dragon Secure was really good. Really, really good. And I love that he was basically the only one to be forcing the dragon down. I thought it was a little risky that he used the Playful Trickster on the dragon, but you've clearly got a good head on your shoulders for jungling, because you're focusing on just now. This to me is like a little bit risky, just because like ganking a Malphite can always be a little bit hit or miss, but I'm guessing he went for it because he knew the Malphite didn't have ultimate and the Garen did, so you could go for an execute play here. But you have just used your ultimate, and oh my god, what a steal. That was so good from Amadeus. Like, really, really nice steal. Unfortunately, okay, yeah, I like this. Draw them away because you've got Playful Trickster. Yeah, this is really, really good. Draws them away because he's got Playful Trickster, but they flash over. Okay, do you know what? That actually was a pretty good play. Because he was trying to bait the enemy team away from his own team so that he could kind of like get over the wall. And yes, I agree. Why did Jhin not get the turret in that situation? Jin should have got the turret there because at the end of the day, you were going for Rift Herald and their entire team was there. So Jin should have gone for the turret. Good attempted defense from Pantheon. He's bought a bit of time here. Build is good, by the way. The build is good from Amadeus this game. Nice ult. Nice ult. Yeah, this is going to be good. You can go for this dive. Oh, yeah, you can go. You can go. Just Zonya. Yeah, good. That was really, really nice. And you're going to have playful tricks. And then that was not nice. God, he played that so well right until the end. He played that so well right until the end. Like, if he just didn't use that first ability back onto the tower, he would have played that so well. Okay, so what I want to see from him now is you've got the Infernal Dragon spawning as your next dragon, right? So you've got the Infernal Dragon spawning as your next dragon. You want to make sure that you're going to use this Rift Herald to buy you some space around the Infernal Dragon. Either use it top or mid, just to create some natural pressure for you around the Infernal Dragon. Because it's spawning in 45 seconds. So you want to ensure that you're going to have some pressure in mid. So I'd drop it there. Yeah, I definitely do the red buff. You've got to time these ganks really well, because if you do it too early, they're going to come back onto the field. That's a really nice ult. Actually hits. That's insane. Really, really good stuff. Instantly killed. These are some nice picks, but the problem is that she is going to be back up in time for this dragon. Don't overstep here. Don't overstep. If you die before the dragon, that's game over, right? Oh, why did you go? Oh, Amadeus. Come on, get out. Just get out. Get out. Get out. I don't know if you want this fight. Okay, you survived. I can't believe you survived there. That's actually nutty. Really good drop. I think I would back here. I think I would just go for the back straight away. Oh no, you got hit by the minions. I would be backing here because obviously you want to get back onto the you want to get back onto the Rift Herald. I think them starting. Yeah, I agree. Them starting Infernal here is a little risky in my opinion, but Vi has just shown herself on the top side of the map. So Vi seems to have given up here. Honestly, you're participated in 13 out of 15 kills. Like, you're clearly having a really, really good game here. The only critique I have so far is that you overstep a little too much. You're making really sensible game decisions. That bot lane gank was really nice. That was a nice ultimate from Vi though, but I don't think you win a 1v1 as a Vi. That's a beautiful Zonya. She's buying a bit of time, but here comes Garen. Twisted Fate. Oh, Twisted Fate gold carded the wrong person. Okay, I think you and Vi both played that really well, actually. Both you and Vi played that really well. And you're going to have ultimate up in like 20 seconds. Yeah, yeah, nice. Like, you stopped. Okay, there's Malphite. Yeah, just back out. I think at this point it's doomed. At this point, you just know it's doomed. That was a good little play from Malphite. Be really careful here. You don't need to defend this tower. You really don't need to defend this tower. Okay, okay, you've got Katarina coming up, but you're so low, dude. Pantheon's coming in. Katarina should be able to clean up this. Oh, no. The thing is there, again, it's the same problem that I've seen from you all the game. You don't know when you're not needed. And I have this problem too, especially as a support player. It's very difficult to know when you're not needed in a situation. But that was a situation where you weren't needed. So, like, the only problems that I have with your play so far, Amadeus, is that you're overstepping or you're staying too long in team fights when you're not needed. Like, there was no need for you to be there. So there's no need. You didn't need to catch that card, right? You didn't need to catch that card. But overall, like, I'm seeing someone who's got a very sensible head for the game. Like, you've clearly got objective focus, which is very key in Diamond. You're setting up well for objectives before you get there, which is obviously really strong. Your ganks are pretty good. You seem to be able to play the map quite well. I mean, I think again, like, just some of the early ganks overstepping way too hard under towers has been one of your problems. And again, basically not knowing when to back off, which has been one of my major problems when I play Braum, is that sometimes I think I'm needed in a team fight when really I could just back off and I'd be better off resetting. Okay, good opportunity to go on the Misfortune here. because you have the stasis up in 5 seconds. He's going to play it a little safer, though. There you go. Oh, doesn't quite land. I think there was an opportunity to try and go for it beforehand. I love that you just use the Playful Trickster to check in the brush and then bounce back over. That's a little tip that not a lot of Fizz players will know. You can actually use the first part of your third ability to jump over a wall, and then you can jump back across the wall, and you can always, like, basically, because they can't target you, you can check who's in a brush and then back out, especially over these wall situations. I think you're doing a good job of just maintaining experience and farm. You are a little bit behind in experience to Vi, though. So I think you've been giving more to your laners this game than Vi has. Vi's been trying to play for herself a little bit more. This is risky. This is very risky because the Malphite can just ult you if you wanted to. You would be in a rough situation if the Malphite decided to ult you there, but luckily he didn't. Because I think once you come down from Playful Trickster, okay, yeah, you just face checked. Like, I haven't had to use the pen a lot this game, but spawning, you haven't got Garen. You know this. I know you know this. Spawning in 30 seconds is the dragon. You can't see anybody else on the map, so you can't see. Okay, Katarina's cleaned the fight up. All right, regardless of Katarina cleaning the fight up, you couldn't see any of them on the map. You just saw via Malphite here. They are clearly here. They're clearly there. And you know that as well. You know that as well. Luckily, Katarina kind of just popped off at the end of the fight here. And I think if a Katarina hits a quadra kill at this stage in the game, I'm thinking basically GG. And that's a really nice place now because your team is going to be able to reset. Amadeus by a sweeper. I think it's okay as a support to kind of like, oh my god, how is they're running it down. I think it's okay as a support to keep your wards a little longer than some people, but as a jungler, really you should have a sweeper from the start of the game because it allows you to be much more effective with pathing through the jungle and kind of catching people off guard. I think at this stage now, though, there's not much that can go wrong in this game. I think realistically you're in a pretty strong spot. They don't really have a team comp that scales very well. I mean, Braum's just delivered your ultimate into the middle of their team. Nice flash. Thrash the Misfortune ultimate. You have your stasis still. You don't even need it. That's right. Jump onto Misfortune. Ooh, nice stasis from her. Yeah, I think focusing Misfortune is the right thing here. Good stasis just in case. I would have done that stasis as well. Nice little stasis. I think this is a good game. Even though you're 6, 7, and 10, the only reason you're dying is you've made a couple of like silly decisions with tower dives and overstepping, and obviously that vision play which wasn't particularly good. But like in general, your decision making is really strong. Like the only improvements that I can suggest from this game and this game alone is buy a sweeper earlier on. Don't just don't overstep. Like, don't go for tower dives when you haven't got a setup from your lane. Like, from what I've seen from you is that you force fights really hard, even when your lanes aren't quite in the position to play with you. So you just need to be very aware as a jungler. If you're going to force a play like that, your laner needs to be on board. The wave ideally needs to be at the tower when you're forcing a tower dive. Even as Fizz, like as you've seen, it can be risky. It's very small things that are going wrong this game though for you. You're actually playing insanely well. Like I said, your decision making is really strong. You've got good ideas about where to set up around objectives, good ideas to where to set up around ganks. That Pantheon was a little bit in, I'm not going to lie. If I were you, I would be a little careful about joining this fight. Yeah, I definitely would be a little careful about joining this fight. I mean, Katarina's coming, but you're just going to die. I think that was a bad fight to join. Your Katarina was too far away. Your Jhin was too far away. You didn't see the Vi use the ultimate, and if you Playful Trickster into a Braum, you're just dead. So Braum is a pretty good answer into Fizz, because if Fizz just Playful Tricksters, Braum just needs to stun you and then you're dead. So I really like Braum. Now they're going for Baron. This seems like a really bad play for me. Two reasons why it's a bad play for go to Baron here. You only have about 15 seconds until you're back on the field. Katarina's incredibly fed, and a Garen who can just face tank you in this. And also they made it very telegraphed what they were doing here. So I'm not entirely certain that I love this Baron, although Katarina kind of trolled, honestly. Katarina kind of trolled this, but if Katarina was here, imagine if Katarina was there when Garen got there. It doesn't matter. She's going to... They trolled up. I mean, yeah. Like I said, imagine if Katarina was there. She was there, they get a quadra kill anyway, right? Because their enemy team just overstepped massively and forgot about the Katarina. But imagine if Katarina was there beforehand. She would have just, like, stopped that Baron, maybe even stole it. They've surrendered. Okay. Right. They have surrendered. I would say, from a personal standpoint, these are my main feedback points. Get a sweeper way earlier in the jungle. You need to have a sweeper earlier in the jungle. It just helps you get good ganking. You can clear vision as you're going around. It's something that I see loads of top tier junglers do. I would recommend doing it. Secondly, just if you're setting up for dives, make sure that your laner is on board or the waves are pushed so that the dive is less risky. You went for way too risky dives this game and you overstepped. Just be hyper aware of vision. You face checked that time around the mountain drake, which could have gone really badly wrong for a team. You picked a couple of fights where your team, again, you make a lot of solo plays and your team isn't quite ready to follow up on them. And I do think this game, if you didn't have the Katarina, you might have lost, because the enemy team was able to capitalize on your mistake specifically. Like the Baron, that was off your mistake. Like the enemy team basically got Baron because you trolled in a fight at bot lane. So just, especially on Fizz, just be you're playing Fizz like you're playing Olaf. I know that you play Olaf, so you're playing Fizz like you play Olaf. You just need to be a bit more selective with Fizz. He's not invulnerable. He's not unkillable. Like once you've used Playful Trickster, that's it. You're a sitting duck most of the time. So that's why you have to be very selective about your fights with Fizz. You can easily pick off someone out of position, but you can't go in 1v3 because you will just die most of the time unless you're super fed. So yeah, just be very, very careful. Plus, stasis absolutely counters you. So you just need to make sure and have a look at who's buying stasis and who isn't buying stasis, because stasis is the biggest counter to Fizz jungle. If Fizz uses his ultimate on you and you've got stasis, just use stasis and there's nothing Fizz can do. His ultimate is like 50% of his engaged damage. And without his ultimate, he's a little bit worse in terms of looking for those solo kills. But actually, you made really good decisions. Your ganks are pretty good. Your setups around objectives were good. I think the way that you played the first Drake fight was excellent. I just think as the game went on, you started to get a little bit frustrated and you started to try and make plays by yourself, which your team wasn't quite on board with. And you're kind of lucky that the Katarina popped off and just killed everybody. Because if we didn't have the Katarina, might have been a different story. But that was a good game. And I think a lot of people will learn a lot from the way that you were pathing and playing the game. It's definitely, definitely a good, I would say a solid diamond game. That is a solid diamond game. All right, we're going to go on to our next video now. All right, this is the second game from someone called Fentatist. It is a replay, so not actually a live gameplay, but we can still do some analysis on it. Now, in the future, I'm doing this because Fentatist has been super, super helpful and really, really active on my Discord channel and really nice. But in the future, if you can submit a live gameplay, it helps me like focus on your decision making a little bit more because I can see the buttons that you're pressing and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's dive into it. This is Platinum, and actually, by the way, what you saw from Amadeus previously was a pretty standard diamond game. Like when it comes to diamond, the mechanics are good. Often the decision making's pretty good, but sometimes it just comes down to small things. And that was like a very, very classic example of a diamond game. Now this is Platinum, mid lane. Fentatist is doing the right thing here on Akali. So into the Akali versus Fizz matchup, you should be looking to be aggressive. Like you win this matchup if you just keep spamming your first ability. Like I think he's being too passive here. I actually think he's being a little bit too passive. Look, why are you letting Fizz anywhere near the minions? Like you win this level 1 so hard. Like that level 1 for Akali is won really, really hard. You should be looking to like zone Fizz towards his own tower all the time. Fizz does not win this level 1, and I think you were just a little bit too passive in the early laning phase. I actually think you could have won this lane level 1 by just walking up to Fizz, especially because you saw Fizz started Playful Trickster, right? Like Fizz started his third ability. Now this Fizz kind of bad. If I was the Fizz, as soon as Akali shurikens you and she tries to dive back in on you, I would have gone in. Now that's a little unlucky. You didn't have the vision on the bottom side of the map. What I would say is, I will just pause it quickly here just to explain something. Most Lee Sins are going to start red buff, right? So they're going to go red buff into blue buff, and then they might come down into this side of the map, right? It's 1 minute 33. This means that Lee Sin has gone red buff, blue buff, killed you, right? So he's only done 2 camps, and then it's come straight to the laning phase. That's something that can happen with Lee Sin. When you're playing against the Lee Sin, around the 1 minute 30 mark, you should just be looking to put a ward on whichever side of the jungle is away from the red side of the jungle, because Lee Sins will almost always start red, right? So either Lee Sin will start red, and he might stay on this side of the map, but you had a ward here, so that tells you that he's probably not on this side of the map. Or he's going to go down to blue and go into here, right? So whenever you're playing against the Lee Sin, just stick a ward here. I didn't see if you had a ward available. I can't tell from this if you had a ward available or not. But just stick a ward on the bottom side so you don't get caught out here. But I do think that that was just unlucky, because that's a very, very early Lee Sin gank. Most junglers would not be ganking until around 2 minutes. So that's a very early Lee Sin gank that you unfortunately got caught out by. But I do think you could have won the lane really hard at level 1, because Fizz took a really dumb skill at level 1. He took Playful Trickster, which is his third ability. That means he can't trade with you, melee versus melee. So you should have just started spamming your first ability to try and beat him in the 1v1. Even now, I think you can beat him in the 1v1. If you're a Fizz and Akali lands a shuriken on you and she dives towards you, use your Playful Trickster as she's diving towards you, because you won't take any damage and you can kind of catch her off guard, and you've brought her to you at that point as well. So, yeah, I mean, this is good. I mean, this is good, right? You missed your oh no. Lee Sin's back. I don't think he's going to be further. If you managed to aim that the right way, I think you could have killed Fizz. You had Ignite up. I think you could genuinely would have killed Fizz in that scenario. So that's a little bit of an oof, but it is what it is. Okay, we've got a PK God chilling on the Rammus, going level 5. Surprised he's managed to get away with this early jungle so hard. Okay, so he's used his ultimate. Ignite him, ignite him, ignite him, ignite him, ignite him. And look, I do it as well. It just hurts. It just hurts. There's just such small things. Like you could stomp this lane so hard if it's just the small things. Now I would look, if you look at the minimap, yeah, straight over to Lee. This is good. Taunts him in. Yeah, ultimate, nice. Use your second part of your ultimate across the wall. Oh, that was nice. There we go. That was good. That was what you needed to do. It gets you back into the game. It puts pressure. Why have you gone Proto Belt first? Okay, right. You don't need Proto Belt on Akali. It's completely useless. That's a really nice from the Rammus. Nice. That was good, Fentatist. There we go. This is what I like to see. You've got the Ignite on him. Beautiful stuff. Really, really good stuff. Now, obviously, Fizz is coming. I would flash here. I would have just flashed. Yeah, nice. At least you get away. Like, you and Janna get away here. That's the best you can hope for. Okay. Proto Belt on Akali. Ooh, would not recommend. Would not recommend Proto Belt on Akali. It doesn't do much for you because you've already got a lot of dashes. You've got 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash. You've got 3 dashes, a massive speed boost in your when you're inside your shuriken, and a speed boost from your passive inside your shroud. You don't need Proto Belt. Okay? The best enchant for Akali is Stasis. 100%. 100%. Almost all the time, the best stasis, the best enchant for Akali is Stasis, because you can jump in. If you don't get it right, you stasis, you wait for your cooldowns to come back, and then you reset and go again, right? So Stasis is just the best enchant 100% of the time. I don't really think Proto Belt offers you a lot here, realistically. Now, the Lich Bane first is an interesting one. There have been a lot of Akali builds recently, and I think there is. So there's a lot going on, but I'd be rotating to bot straight away. Yeah, okay, this is good. You're going a little bit late, I think, but nonetheless, you're going. Now, you've walked straight over the vision here, so this is now a little risky because they all know that you're coming, so you do have to be very careful. Nice dodge on the Fizz ultimate there, but you're not going to get anything done, which is fair enough. Kind of need to wait for your team. Okay, this is risky. I mean, that was very ballsy. If you've got your ultimate, yeah. You've done enough distraction to allow your Kai'Sa to get a kill, but you could have very cleanly, I think, got some kills here. I would have taken the blast cone, but you get out anyway, so that's fine. You could have much more cleanly got a kill. Like the Proto Belt, I think it just serves to make things more complicated for you. Lich Bane first is an interesting choice. I think it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's really good for single target damage. But the standard Akali build that we're seeing right now is you go haunting guys into like Rabadon's death cap. So that's like the standard Akali build that we're seeing right now. So you just go haunting guys for the 10% damage buff in fights into Rabadon's death cap. I have seen some people go haunting guys into Lichbane. But haunting guys is like the accepted first item. This itemization here, though, is not bad. It is fine. It's a fine item for Akali. This is not, though. I don't rate Protobelt. Now, I think it would have been nice to knock the vision cone over, but it looks like they're stopping anyway, so that's fine. Top side of the map's going pretty badly. There's nothing you can do about that. Really, there's so much action on the bottom side of the map. Just ignore what's ever happening as top, and I'm glad that you are, because you really can't influence that, not easily. Now this to me, that was a big mistake. I mean, you're not getting. I'm just gonna pause here. You didn't have any vision of the river. You just saw Lee Sin show up at the dragon, and dragon's up. And you've pushed quite far. You pushed up to about here in mid lane. I think it's relatively, when you look back at it, it's relatively obvious that Lee Sin's going to come from the river here. So whenever you're in this position and dragon's up, and you can't see the enemy jungler, assume that they are setting up around dragon, because that's usually what's happening. So stepping up that far with no vision, and you don't, like, Rammus wasn't in position to counter gank, that was risky, and that may have just given them the dragon for free. We'll have to see. Yeah, so they're going to go straight over to dragon. That was, I would say, a very risky play, and kind of unnecessary as well. I don't think you needed to do that far. I think at this point, you're waiting for your team to set up a fight. Like, the best chance for you to do well in this game right now is for Rammus to go into the fight, and for you to then just jump into the fight and just become part of the chaos. Become one with the chaos and start blowing people up. Still don't like the Protobelt. The more that I look at it, the more I hate it. Now, there is a big fight going on over here. They've managed to not die somehow. I have no idea how they haven't died, but this is a perfect opportunity for you to pop off. Get the Riven. Like the Riven, just ignite her, ignite the Riven, ignite the Riven. Okay, good. I think that's a shutdown. You got a lot of gold for that. Now, I would have just turned back down here. You're walking over vision so they know that you're coming. However, it doesn't matter. I think the enemy team. Yeah, nice jump over the wall, but I don't think you're tower diving here. Or are you? Okay, Protobelt actually worked. Wait, okay, no, never mind. Okay, the Lee Sin trolled. The Lee Sin kind of trolled. I thought you were going to Protobelt, get a basic attack, and suddenly get a double kill. And I was like, whoa, okay, I've been talking crap about Protobelt. Nonetheless, you've managed to get some kills out of this. So you've got another kill. You're doing okay. Next item, I'd like to see you go like Rabadons or go Haunting Guys. I think that's the two best items for you at this point. I like that you're going over to help the Rammus here. Now, Fizz has come to join the party. Has managed to land. Oh, he landed that in the Shroud. That's a bit of a feels bad, man. Smite it, Rammus. Oh, he gets it. Okay. At least Rammus gets it. Like, Rammus getting it is important in this situation. And Fiora somehow gets a kill onto the Fizz, which is fine. But the Riven's kind of popping off. Okay, lovely. Haunting Guys, love it. Okay, you're doing good. This is good itemization now. I'm happy with this itemization. Not happy with this still, but it's there. So what can we do about it? I think overall, you're making relatively sensible map decisions. I can clearly see that you are paying attention to the minimap, which is really good. It's like the #1 skill that Platinum players need to learn. Wait, no, it's not Platinum. It's Emerald. I said Emerald, and it's not. It's Emerald. It's the #1 skill that Emerald players need to learn, because making that transition from Emerald to Diamond is all about just being aware of what's going on the map, understanding how you can influence. Like, this is good. Like, you've clearly seen that the Tristan is a little bit overstepped. You're looking for an opportunity. Like, nice ult in, nice almost dodge. Doesn't matter if you dodge it though. Yeah, good. Got the kill. You get Buster Shot back. Doesn't matter. If your team cleans up here, like, you can say worth. I mean, and Rammus is coming into the fight. This is right. This is fine. Like, you take the Seraphine out, you force a really bad Seraphine ultimate out. Didn't really get much done. It was a defensive Seraphine ultimate, so you force a defensive Seraphine ultimate out here. That was fine. That was good. I like the roam. You're looking to see how much you can impact the map as much as possible. I think that going top is a complete waste of time in this game. So I'm glad that you're focused on this side of the map, because I really think that's the side of the map that you're going to get the most influence in. So I'm I'm relatively happy with what I'm seeing right now. I am relatively happy with what I'm seeing right now. I think there is some like I'm just seeing a few mechanical things with Akali. Like I'm not the best Akali player in the world. Don't get me wrong. I really don't play this champion very much, but it just doesn't feel like you're being quite as fluid with some of your combos. Like right here, this Tristana is classic Emerald, by the way. Just like massively overstepping, likely without any vision. I mean, it's a complete fiesta on the bottom side of the map. Think what you were trying to do here was the correct decision, by the way. Protobelt can maybe saved you from Riven. I think what you were trying to do here was the correct decision. Like, it's probably not, you're probably not going to have influence on the bottom side of the map now, so you're trying to go for the mid lane tier 1. I like that. I think that was, in my mind, what I would have done as well. But obviously now you've got to be a little concerned because we are starting up towards the next dragon of the game. So next dragon of the game, obviously very important. Lee Sin has massively overstepped here. I'm glad that you're not following up on any shurikens though, because it would just be certain death, because obviously Fiora's not here and Rammus isn't here either. I think the best time for you to follow up on shurikens is when Rammus is in the area, because if Rammus can just ult in on top of you and create distraction, you know, you're in a good spot. Now, this is going to be a 4 versus 5 because Fiora's top lane. So it's Mountain Dragon. Is it worth it? You don't. I don't even think you need to commit. There's a lot of damage onto the Lee Sin. That's really good from the Kai'Sa to kind of jump. I mean, I would be getting in there right now. Like your team's committed. You need to commit. Like your team committed. You kind of need to commit at this point. I think you were just being a little too passive in this situation. I like the okay into maybe certain death, but I like the little Protobelt into Shuriken there. That was pretty spicy. I think you waited way too long. You waited way too long to commit here, and I don't want to see you commit on this unless you think you can kill the Trist instantaneously. Okay, if you shuriken, okay, if you I mean, there was maybe something to say shuriken there, but yeah, I think you waited a little too long. I would have loved to have seen you use your ultimate way earlier in that team fight. Okay, Fizz, yeah, you just got a little caught out. You were never going to contest that dragon, right? So there was no point to be. If you weren't going to go in on the dragon, if you're not going to go in the dragon when your team's already lost, there's no point being here. You don't need to be here whatsoever. All you're doing by being there is like making it so the enemy team can jump over and kill you, which is what just happened. And they have a Fizz and a Lee Sin, so it would have been easy for them to do that, which they did. I think the only problem with that bot team fight is as soon as the Kai'Sa jumps in, just get in there. Like, if your Kai'Sa commits, she's really strong, you just have to go for it. Like, you just have to go for it. Who cares about the Riven that's chasing your Janna away? Who gives a flying dick about the Riven? Just get in the fight and start fighting with the Kai'Sa, because if you provide distraction for the Kai'Sa, she might start getting kills. Sometimes as an Akali player, your biggest job served is just by being a distraction for for your team. Okay, nice. All right, and we get the flash in. Should be... Oh, no. God, no. I would love to have seen a really early Shroud there. Like, just get the Shroud down. Yeah, you need to get away from Riven, right? When she's chaining her skills together, you need to get away from a Riven. Looks like we're just speeding up through the death. Yeah, okay. I appreciate this. Thank you for speeding up through the long death timers. So the last few fights, you just haven't really been able to have the impact that you would have wanted to have. Team's a little bit behind in gold. So we're getting up towards the Infernal Drake being the next one to spawn. We also have the Baron. You still have 2 pretty strong items at this point. Again, I just think if you had Stasis, you would have been able to, like, survive in these team fights. You may have been able to pick off people at the edge of the team fights. Like, Stasis just is, I think, the best enchant for Akali. And I think if you don't pick Stasis, you become much easier to kill. One thing about Akali into Lee Sin you have to be hyper aware of is that Lee Sin can just reveal you in your Shroud. So you always have to be very, very careful about Lee Sin just revealing you in your Shroud. That's nice from the... Okay, yeah, I like this. Shroud. Nice, okay. You Protobelted kind of the wrong way. Second part of your ult. I mean, what are you waiting for? Yeah, okay. I feel like you could have gone a little harder on the Seraphine. Because if you kill the Seraphine there, that's actually pretty big. I feel like I would have just gone onto the Seraphine and said, whatever happens after that happens. Think the Riven's just going... I mean, what is Riven even trying to do here? Like, you get kited so hard by a Janna. That Janna played it so well, and Riven isn't going to kill a full armor Rammus anytime soon. Nice, okay, Lee Sin. Yeah, you just stole some away. That's fine. We take that. I think you hold the second part of your ultimate way too long. I think you want to be using it much earlier. You're giving them too much time to get away. I kind of understand that you're maybe waiting for a better target, but Seraphine's actually a really good target to take out in a team fight. Like, if I can kill a Seraphine at the start of a team fight, I'm killing her, because her healing, her shielding is like so much. It's ridiculous. Okay, the Proto Belt away. I can see why the Proto Belt's good for running away. I don't think you want to be doing too much of that as an Akali, though, unfortunately. So you're not... I think the team's still relatively even. I mean, I think Fiora's kind of... Okay, the Fizz is... I mean, what is the Fizz doing? Like, he's just trolling. All right, so a little bit awkward on the... Okay, now you're trolling. Yeah, you have to ult away. If you're not sure about Zhonya's timers, don't try and time it. The worst thing you can do is waste a skill because you've wasted Zhonya's. If you waited for him to come out of Zhonya's and then just allowed him to use his playful trickster, or sorry, stasis, it allows him to use his playful trickster and then use the shuriken, you wouldn't miss it and you'd be able to follow him up and kill him. I think by trying to time the shuriken there, it kind of screwed you a little bit. So Fiora's going for I actually quite like what Fiora's doing here, you know. I actually think what Fiora's doing is... Oh, never mind, Lee Sin's top. If Fiora can kill Lee Sin, though, this is pretty lit. I mean, I don't know why Lee Sin's on the top side of the map when we have... Oh, nice. You baited out the Seraphine ultimate. That's really good. Yeah, jump in with the Rammus. Jump in with the Rammus. Just go in. Pop Shroud. Nice. This is good enough. Really, really good. Yeah, there we go. That's what we like to see. Lovely bait on the Seraphine ult. I think the Seraphine kind of trolled a little bit, but a really nice bait. And yeah, you chose the right time to go in. When Rammus goes in, you go in, because Rammus creates so much distraction that no one's going to want to focus the Akali because they have this ridiculous Rammus just sat on their heads. Just DPS. I think just DPS. You're not going to kill anyone at quarter HP. Just DPS the Elder. Just DPS. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I was a little worried that you were running up here because I was like, who is he going to kill at quarter, like 1/4 HP? But yeah, just DPSing the Elder. Pretty nice. I think if you're like a Garen, you can do that, right? If you're a Garen or a Braum or a tank, you can zone like that around the Elder Dragon. I think if you're a Akali at quarter HP, you've got to be way more careful. But this is a really big win for your team, picking up the Elder Dragon. Like, huge win. And we should have Baron being thought of soon. Honestly, Fiora's kind of been, even though it looks a little in, sometimes what Fiora's doing, she's kind of been smurfing this game. Like, she's been forcing the enemy to make some really dumb decisions. Like, why send Lee Sin top when the Elder Dragon's up? Of course, the Rammus is just going to look for an engage around the Elder Dragon. Like, Lee Sin going top there. Like, send Riven top. Riven was beating her. Like, why are you sending Lee Sin top in that scenario? Like, I just don't know. Some people make some really weird decisions. Especially junglers. Like, junglers can like make or break games really hard. Okay, gotta be a little careful. You don't have any vision of the river, so like you've just walked blind into here. I mean, I know you can see the three members, but if you walked into a river in there, you might have been dead. So like walking blind in that scenario, I think was very risky. But I do like that the team is just like perma grouping up. Okay, so that's the Rammus going in. Rammus is so tanky now. Like, just get in there, get on the Seraphine, ult her. Cool. That was nice. Going for Baron here. I think you could push for inhibitor. But obviously Baron is the safer play. I think Fiora's just split pushing really nicely this game. This is something that Emerald Baron laners will do a lot. They'll either just fully split push or not. Now, you're just checking. I mean, that's again fine. Obviously can be a little risky, but you can see like the Riven and the Tristana away from the Barons, so you've started to make some... I think you've made much better teamfight decisions towards the late game. Like, you've been waiting for your Rammus to engage, which is good, and then you're kind of jumping into the fight afterwards and just looking to pick someone off and kill them off when the engage has already happened. I think if you're engaging versus this comp, it can be a little risky. So I like that you're waiting for the Rammus this time round. And Morellonomicon is good versus Seraphine, actually. So that's a nice pickup versus Seraphine. I'm glad that you've done it. It shows that you're being aware of, like... I wouldn't usually go Morellonomicon here if there wasn't much healing, but as I said, you are versus a Seraphine. You're very likely against a Blade of the Ruin King Tristana, Lee Sin, who's got healing, Riven, who is pretty much all about healing with lifesteal and physical vamp. So I like the Morellonomicon here. I think it's a good decision. However, you are delaying your damage by not going Rabadons. Like, Rabadons is a really nice early item for Akali. So, Rabadons feels like it should be somewhere in, like, it should be your next item. I don't think we're going to get to the next item, but Rabadon should be your next item. But I like that the Morellos was picked up here. If anything, I wouldn't have finished the Leandries. If anything, I would have just gone for, okay, this is where Zhonya's would have been really helpful. Nice flash away, though. Nice shuriken, keeping yourself safe with the proto belt, which is good. Walked into a Riven who thinks she's like 1v9 box. Ah, no, you shuriken into the... I mean, I'm not going to blame you for that because that was a little bit unlucky. You shuriken straight into the Seraphine ultimate. Okay, this is good enough. It looks like Rammus and Fiora are basically like 1v9ing here. Fizz should be dead. Nice. That was a well-timed shuriken off the back of the stasis. That was really nice. I think you're actually... You're playing the true assassin play, Akali playstyle quite nicely here. You're splitting up. Okay, so you're splitting up. You're going to try and push 2 lanes at once. I think that's relatively safe. Should be able to get... I don't think you can get... don't think you can get another inhibitor here, but you might be able to get... I mean, if you can, it'll be really good. If you can get this, it'll be really good. If he jumps in on that, he's just going to get taunted. Okay, there we go. That was really good. All right. So you've got 2 inhibitor towers down now. You're in a really, really strong spot. I think this Lee Sin, if he goes in on any of this, he's purely trolling. Like he just gets killed. So I think at this point, there's not much you can do. I think realistically the game's won. You can kind of do whatever you want, and the game's over. So what I've seen from you this game is that I think you played around the side of the map that was important well. So you focused on bot lane. You got Kai'Sa into a good spot. Like, all of your roams were to bot lane because you knew that top lane was pointless. Like, the Riven was kind of stomping early. She was taking over. There really isn't much point ganking a Riven because she's got so much mobility. So I like that you didn't go top lane too much. I like that you focused on bot lane as your primary. I think you played the laning phase kind of bad. Just, from my opinion, I think you didn't abuse Fizz hard enough level 1 when you went Playful Trickster. I don't think you respected Lee Sin's jungle pathing as much. And I think you were a little bit lax with vision. But I think some of your mid-game decisions, especially about where to be on the map, was really good. And I think actually you've had some really, really good map decisions. And I think that's something that not a lot of Emerald players know how to do well. I do think there are some mechanical things when it comes to team fights. I really don't like Proto Belt on Akali. But your itemization has been overall solid. I do like to have Haunting Guys before. It looks like I think your Kai'Sa should be able to clean this one up. Yeah, you've won the game. Okay. I think that I think Protobelt, I don't really like it on Akali, and I think you should go Haunting Guys into Lichbane, and I don't think you should completely Andrews. I think you should go Haunting Guys, Lichbane, Rabadon's most game, or Haunting Guys, Rabadon's Lichbane most game. I don't actually see every Akali player go Lichbane, by the way. I'm not entirely certain that, it's the best build path. If anything, I think like Haunting Guys, Rabadon's into Infinity Orb, and then into maybe like things like Morellonomicon is good. I don't think you need to go Lichbane, but regardless, your build worked fine, especially if you're like blowing up single targets. And I think your roaming and mid game was pretty good. I think you were choosing the right places to be at the right time. I think you obviously were paying attention to the minimap. You were trying to make plays on the map, which is good because as Akali, you need to snowball the map in your favor. I think there were some like mechanical errors in team fights. End of the day, like those are things that you can review yourself. But I think with Akali, you should, unless you're really fed and you're catching someone out or you're landing a shuriken on the AD carry, you should be waiting for the Rammus to go in every time. I think you eventually started doing that, and that's when the team fight started really popping off for you. But overall, like, that's pretty solid. Like, you had a rough early game. You recovered. You made good plays on the map. You tried to snowball the people that worked. You tried to snowball the people that were strong. So you snowballed the Kai'Sa. And I think overall, like, relatively solid. There weren't many like glaring issues. There were definitely like, again, like small mechanical things, but I do those still. Like everybody does those. Those are just small errors that happen in every single game. But like relatively solid. You didn't go top once, and I completely agree with you for not doing that because it was pointless. You were never going to get much out of top lane. Let Fiora do Fiora things. Fiora's going to split push all day. Let Fiora split push all day. But I think you played really well around your jungler in the mid game. You played well around your bot lane. And that was part of the reason why you kind of snowballed. I really like a couple of times you baited out the Seraphine ultimates, which is nice. I think you were a little too hesitant to use the second part of your ultimate sometimes. I think you wait for like the perfect opportunity. Whereas like in that fight versus Seraphine in blue side jungle, just kill the Seraphine and then just like run or find another way into the fight. That's where stasis helps you, by the way. Stasis helps you when you want to go that deep, like when you want to use your ultimate straight away, but you do get quite far into the enemy team. Stasis, then Shroud, you buy so much time for your team to catch up. But regardless, pretty good game. And overall, pretty happy with the way you played. Long wIldrift Doctor, by the way, guys. 2 games. Hope you enjoyed them. Thank you to Fentatist and Amadeus for submitting, and I will do another one. I'll probably try and do 2 of these videos a week. Again, the instructions to submit are in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed.